All right, today we're pulling back the curtain on something absolutely fundamental, the World Sailing Code of Ethics. Now, this isn't just some dusty rulebook. It's about way more than just racing. It's about protecting the very soul of the sport.
So, have you ever wondered what really keeps sailing fair and honorable? I'm talking from a local weekend regatta all the way up to the Olympics. Well, it's not just the rules of racing you see on the water. It's this powerful code of ethics. Think of it as a shield that guards the sport's core values against any kind of misconduct.
Okay, so here's our game plan. We're going to cover what this rulebook is all about, figure out who exactly is a participant, break down the core ethical standards, see how complaints actually get handled, shine a light on protecting the sport's soul, and finally wrap up with why all of this really, really matters. All right, first up, Sailing's Rulebook for Integrity. So what is this code really? I think the best way to look at it is less like a big list of don'ts and more like a promise. It's a promise that everyone in sailing makes to protect the sport's reputation and just make sure the game is fair for everybody. And this isn't just some suggestion box. This thing has real teeth. This updated code goes into effect on November 10, 2024, and its mission is crystal clear: to set and enforce the absolute highest ethical standards for sailing all across the globe. Okay, next question. Who is a participant? You've got to understand the code's incredible reach here. Because you might think, oh, it's just for the sailors on the boats, right? But nope. The code's definition of a participant is way, way broader than that. And that's totally on purpose. Basically, it's this simple. If you are formally involved in sailing in pretty much any official capacity, you are considered a participant. And that broad definition is so crucial because it makes it clear that integrity isn't just the sailor's job, it's on everyone. And just take a look at how far this goes. Of course, you've got your competitors and boat owners, that makes sense. But it also covers support people like coaches, trainers, even family members sometimes. It includes world sailing officials, committee members, race officials, event organizers, even candidates for election. And, get this, it even applies to people who've recently resigned. The message here is loud and clear: accountability follows you. All right, let's get to the real heart of the code, the ethical standards themselves. Now, there are a bunch of specific rules, but the best way to get your head around them is to think of them as three core pillars of conduct. Pillar number 1 is all about acting with honesty. This means upholding integrity, doing your duties with care, and being totally upfront about any potential conflicts of interest. Really, it's the bedrock, the foundation of trust for the entire sport. Next up, Pillar 2, compete with fairness. This one is all about protecting clean competition. It means absolutely no doping, no manipulating results, and no engaging in any kind of bribery or corruption. It's about making sure that victory is earned out there on the water and absolutely nowhere else. And that brings us to Pillar 3, treat others with respect. This one covers a lot of ground, everything from professional conduct and promoting equality to safeguarding the dignity of every single person involved. It's about making sure sailing is a safe, inclusive space for everyone and, protecting the good name of the sport as a whole. So having all these standards is great, but what happens when someone actually breaks them? Well, the code lays out a really clear system of justice. It details exactly how complaints are handled to make sure there's fairness and accountability. The whole process is designed to be super methodical and fair. It all kicks off when a complaint or a report is made. That triggers an investigation. Then, based on all the evidence they gather, a decision is reached. And if misconduct is proven, well, that's when sanctions are considered and applied. Now, who handles the complaints actually depends on the scale of the event, which is pretty smart. For the huge events, we're talking the Olympics, the America's Cup, you've got a special investigator and world sailing itself getting involved. But for all other international events, it's handled more locally by the Protest Committee and the National Sailing Authority. So you've got this two-track system: global oversight for the biggest stages and local expertise for everything else. Okay, let's zoom in on a couple of the biggest threats to any sport today, which the code tackles head-on. That's competition manipulation and safeguarding people. These are so critical, they get their own dedicated sections or annexes. When it comes to competition manipulation, the code draws a very clear line in the sand. On the one hand, it is absolutely forbidden for anyone involved to bet on any sailing event or use inside info for betting. And of course, you can't intentionally alter a result or accept a bribe.
On the other hand, the code makes it super clear that legitimate benefits, things like official prize money, appearance fees, or your sponsorship deals, are perfectly fine. No gray area there.
And maybe most importantly of all, the code puts a huge emphasis on protecting people. I think this quote from the Safeguarding Annex just says it all. The goal is to protect everyone, making sure they have the right to be in the sport in a safe and inclusive environment. This really is about protecting the sport's soul.
So we've seen the rules, we've seen the process, but why does this all really matter? It matters because this code isn't just a list of nice ideas. It has real, tangible consequences for anyone who violates it. And yet, these are the teeth of the code. The potential sanctions range from a formal warning or reprimand, all the way up to fines, being told you can't compete or officiate, and even suspension or having your eligibility completely revoked. You could be removed from an official position or even be reported to other authorities. It really shows that the commitment to integrity is backed up by some serious power to enforce it.
So, at the end of the day, this code provides the framework. It's the shield that protects the sport we all love. But a shield is only as strong as the people holding it up. The rules are right there on the page, but integrity, that lives in the actions of every single participant. So the final question isn't for me, it's for all of us. How will you help uphold them?